I love you two.
Fabulous.
Cool, I haven't had one of those in a while.
But even a good relationship can go off kilter.
You hate me today, don't you, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Practical doesn't have to be dull.
To make it through the rocky patch, we need to get radical.
This house is not for sale.
Oh, you're mean.
It's the only way to keep them keen.
Keep her on edge for a little bit longer, please. We're searching in Scotland's Granite City, Aberdeen, for two families who are both new to the area.
Both couples have come here for their work, but they've brought with them very different budgets.
But in a city where property prices have proved practically recession-proof, finding their perfect pads could be problematic.
Phil, you pulled that off.
That was all right, wasn't it?
In the last 40 years, Aberdeen has become the oil capital of Europe.
And because of all that oil and the jobs it brings, property prices have remained strong, despite all the world economy has thrown at the market.
Engineer Scott Lang and his wife Kirstin are just one of the many families relocating here for precious job opportunities.
Also making Aberdeen home are Brian Clarence and Helen Barr. 7 months ago, this engaged couple were living in Essex, expecting a baby, when Brian was offered an oil industry job too good to refuse. So they relocated the length of the country, just in time for two to become three.
Well, we came up in a rush, mind, so...
We did. We actually moved into a house 3 days before Frankie arrived with us, which was a bit of a rush, but it was all right for me.
Yes, hence why we're renting, and we haven't actually found a house in Aberdeen yet.
Yep.
But we're still all a bit new.
I've now got number 2 on the way as well, so in amongst that, there's not really been a huge amount of time to
Do anything.
do other things.
First-time parents, another on the way, a new job and a brand new city. That's a lot of stress in one move.
But that's nothing to these two. Their last job was decommissioning nuclear power plants. Surely finding a house for this nuclear family should be simple.
We've had Frankie, we've been looking for a house. We are planning a wedding, we're getting married in a couple of months' time.
In the last 2 years, I think we've done all those big, stressful life events that people say that you go through.
You know, if we can get the right house in the right place and settle for a few years, it would give us a chance to catch the breath.
And do all the things that we haven't been able to do yet.
Yes.
As a family.
Good luck, Phil. Careful not to cause a meltdown.
Fear not, Kirstie. Working with you, I deal with meltdowns all the time.
You guys don't do things by halves, do you? It's kind of all of the things that people struggle to do one at a time. You're trying to do them all simultaneously. How much are you prepared to spend?
We've got around 350,000. We can stretch a little bit more.
If I was a magician, which I'm not, and I could conjure up your perfect house, what would it be like?
Well, our perfect house has got some curb appeal. It's got some character that makes it feel
Something
like,
quirky.
Yeah, that you want to actually
Not
live
just a
in there.
square box.
It's got to be a bargain. It's got to be value for money.
It is the #1 criteria.
It
really,
is my
for you,
#1
isn't it?
criteria. I'll probably put it above a garage if I'm honest, and that's saying a lot.
And I would be able to talk him round to most things, but not this.
I can find opportunities and I
Yes.
can show you how you might be able to add value and I can negotiate prices, but I can't beat the market.
No, we're realistic on what you can get, but by the same token, we're not going to pay top dollar for anything.
Would you do any work to a house?
Our views are slightly different. We'll do decoration and
I think
things
it's less
like
that. I think it's more that you would want to do all the work yourself, and I want your time, or Frankie and I want your time.
I'm not very good at paying workmen to come and do jobs that I can do.
It's a slight point of difference, but there's arguments on both sides, isn't there? We need to get on with it, don't we?
That's a good idea.
Let's make a start.
Excellent.
To do work or not to do work? That is the question. Let's hope Phil has the answer.
Their ideal budget is 350,000, but they could stretch to 400 grand for the right house.
They'd like 4 bedrooms for guests and future additions, and somewhere with a bit of character, and a garage.
For Helen and Brian, spending quality family time together is key, so I'll be looking within easy commuting distance of his office in the west end of the city.
While I'm with Kirstin and Scott, who might not be moving as far as Phil's pair, but whose search is just as complicated. Scott, Kirstie and their 2 children, Natalie and Max, currently live in the coastal town of Kirkcaldy.
But when engineer Scott discovered he was being made redundant, family life as they knew it was about to change.
It was very out of the blue, totally unexpected announcement.
So we had one night of feeling a bit sorry for ourselves.
Yeah. Have to turn it all around and get the positives out of it. Don't throw yourself in a pit of despair and feel sorry for yourself.
So my resilient couple picked themselves up, and just 3 weeks later, Scott thankfully secured another job.
But with his new position 100 miles north in Aberdeen, it means the family are currently separated during the week.
The big thing that's hit me the hardest is probably leaving Kirstie and the kids to drive up to Aberdeen. I managed to hold it together. Unfortunately, Kirstie and the kids did as well, so it didn't end up this sobbing family in the street.
That's really the impetus to get us together.
So, to keep the family as one, Kirstie and the children are following Scott to Aberdeen and leaving behind their beloved home in Kirkcaldy.
We bought the property 2 years ago, which was my grandparents' old house. They lived here for over 30 years. I remember them moving in, and we have spent the last 2 years,
Lots of time and money on it.
Renovating it and making the perfect family home. And I've got so many family memories of being here.
Kirstie and Scott loved the idea of their kids growing up in this house, adding their names to the height chart where Kirstie herself was measured as a girl.
But this canny couple have a plan. For now, they're going to rent out the house in Kirkcaldy so they can keep the place they love, in the hope that one day they can move back.
And the home at the end of the day is where the 4 of us are going to be.
So it's up to me to find the all-important stopgap in the Granite City so that this foursome can be back together again. No pressure.
Obviously, redundancy is a very scary word, but you two have got a really positive attitude. You picked yourself up and you said, right, okie doke, off to Aberdeen we go.
We want to keep the family up in Scotland, and the only opportunity was for me to come up to Aberdeen.
I think at issue is the fact that you have your forever family home.
Yeah.
That already exists. So in Kirkcaldy is this house, which is where your heart lies.
Yes.
So you're not looking for that.
No.
But at the same time, this house is where you're going to bring up your children.
Yeah.
And it's going to be important. And your budget is around the 200,000 mark.
Yes.
200.
200.
Maximum.
Maximum. Okay.
Max.
I won't play with that. Don't worry. It's fine. 200,000 max. You're aware that for £200,000, you're not going to get anything palatial in Aberdeen.
Acutely.
I think, you know, the old, tired house that's, you know, not really had much done to it for a long time, the expectation is that's the level we'll be pitching in at.
Right.
Because we would rather go in at that and have space than have a walk-in that doesn't have the other
Space,
attractive
yeah.
things like space. Yeah.
So you're not afraid of doing stuff?
No.
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 We've even taken walls down.
Scott, I'm beginning to feel a bit inadequate.
Well, that's got to be a first.
Thank you, Phil. Kirstie and Scott have a £200,000 budget, and they want a rather large house. They're looking for a semi-rural property with 4 bedrooms, but they are happy to take on a project. If I were looking within the city itself, I'd be really concerned, but Scott's new office is near the airport in Dyce, so they're searching further afield in Aberdeenshire where their money should go further. I got a lovely couple. They're realistic. They know they can't get anything as good as what they had.
Yeah.
And they're just incredibly grateful for the help.
My couple are sensible about it. They kind of know-ish what they want. But Brian made it very clear straight away that he wants a bargain. Otherwise, he ain't buying.
Right.
In a city where I just don't think there are any bargains.
No, Aberdeen is not known as the Granite City, home of the bargain. I don't think so.
No.
This time we're both playing the relocation game, where the perils and pitfalls of buying a house are magnified.
With an average house price of £185,000, Aberdeen is second only to Edinburgh as the most expensive city to buy property in Scotland. Prices here are more linked to the need for oil than anything else. And because the jobs market is so buoyant, the demand for family homes is huge.
There's new houses going up everywhere, and there's all the you still got all the old granites, which is...
Beautiful property.
Yes.
What's it like?
Great, good for business, good for families, good for schools.
House prices don't seem to be affected here. I mean, we've really been quite cushioned by the oil industry. So I would say prices are still very, very good.
Good for sellers, perhaps, not so good for buyers.
For my first property, I'm taking Brian and Helen to one of Aberdeen's new family-centred developments in West Hill. I know the houses here lack the character they asked for, but with a young baby and another on the way, this house is all about having an easy lifestyle.
Now, almost everybody that we spoke to recommended coming and having a look in West Hill.
OK.
It's got playgrounds and space. It was designed with young families in mind. But I just thought it was a sensible place for us to start.
OK.
It's a start.
It might be a finish as well. I sensed that. Come on, we'll go in.
Uh-oh, that didn't sound like a glowing endorsement from Brian. Good luck, Phil.
This modern detached property has 4 bedrooms with loads of space. It's on the market at offers over $340,000, and I'm confident I can bring it in on target.
It doesn't need any work, and the kitchen-conservatory combo is perfect for a young family.
Ooh.
That's a big kitchen, like.
Key reason why I want to show you this house is the layout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is built with almost you guys in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is nice actually, isn't it?
It is, that's nice, and it goes round the back of a conservatory.
Very nice.
I knew Helen would love it.
And you may even be winning Brian over.
I just wanted to show you something to see if you could be seduced by the ease of this. It is absolutely turnkey.
It is, isn't it?
It is, you'd come in and that will be you, and
That's nice for the doors as well.
that's nice, and it ticks all of the boxes. But it's your biggest purchase, and if it doesn't tick putting a smile on your face.
I know it's putting a smile on my face for now, though, isn't it?
It is huge, but...
This house is all about stress-free living, and after their hectic last year, I thought an easy life would appeal, but it looks like Brian's going to need some convincing.
When you got together and you thought up about the type of house that you were going to buy together...
It wasn't this.
You didn't have children.
I accept that you do have to be more practical. Practical doesn't have to be dull. It doesn't. Practical doesn't have to be dull, and I'll be honest, it's nice and fit for purpose. And it is just nice and fit for purpose. Spending this much money, it's not going to be on this house. Even before we see upstairs and see the rest of it, it's not going to be on this house.
OK. As long as we know where we are, that's fine.
I think we all know where you are, Phil. Standing in the wrong house.
Yes, thank you, Kirstie.
We're in and around Aberdeen, the oil capital of Europe, where I'm helping reunite a family separated by redundancy.
And I'm helping a Geordie who wants to bag a bargain for his family in a city where bargains are very few and far between.
The first property I showed Brian and Helen caused some dispute. The spacious kitchen-conservatory combo made Helen smile, but Brian thought it was, well, in a word, dull.
Fingers crossed I have better luck with my couple. I'm searching for a property that will reunite Scott, Kirsten and the kids.
Their modest 200 grand budget won't go far in the city of Aberdeen. But luckily for you, Kirstie, they want semi-rural.
So I'm searching here, across the beautiful countryside to the north of the city, where properties on average go for £80,000 less than in more popular parts of Aberdeen. And we're starting in Hatton, a small village just outside the bustling town of Ellon.
16 miles north of Aberdeen, Ellon is an area popular with young families. It has good primary schools and a strong community feel, which is perfect for Scott, Kirsten and the kids.
And I think my first property and its picturesque setting will get me off to a great start.
So, first house of the day. It's more about that than that.
I am loving
This.
Yes.
This modern, detached bungalow with its stunning views has a generous open-plan kitchen, a separate dining room and a child-friendly back garden.
And it's on the market at a fixed price of £195,000.
Let's get in and see the house.
Apart from a bit of redecoration, it doesn't need any major work, so Scott won't be reaching for his power tools just yet. but I don't think that's such a bad thing.
Doesn't need anything doing to it,
No,
really.
I know.
But you could do stuff together at the
Decorate
weekends.
and-
Yeah, we could have a life.
Initial impression so far?
Very
Positive,
positive.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Great start, Kirstie.
Yes, but this place is a gamble. They want a 4th bedroom for guests, but at their budget in this setting, they only get 3. Time to see if these two are as open-minded as they seem.
There are 2 options. The first is to have a bunk bed in one of the children's rooms, or to curtain the window between the dining room and the sitting room, put a sofa bed in there, and then have your dining table in your sitting room. The word sofa bed makes people's hearts sink, but there are so many fantastic ones on the market now.
We
Which
have
That's what we use, because we
We've got that in
use
our
our
spare room.
playroom, and our
Well,
playroom's
exactly.
a spare room with a sofa bed.
I know you wanted 4 bedrooms, but we felt that this house had so many other ticks
ticks.
in the boxes.
We do need the extra space for people to come and stay.
Yes.
But it's as and when. I'm kind of pretty good with it.
Be my guest, go and look at the bedrooms.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kirsten and Scott said they'd compromise, and they might just mean it.
Okay. Nice light room again. And it is actually a good size. And
Plenty of
lovely
space.
view as well. Really, really nice view.
It's all my Christmases come at once. A couple for whom being together as a family is what matters. The view's great, the location's great, it's got lots of space. We're going to enjoy being here as a family. That's what matters.
Well, that was all remarkably positive. Is that a skip in your step, Kirstie?
You can hardly blame me, Phil.
Well, there's no skipping back here in Aberdeen, but I've learnt my lesson about new build estates. So I'm bringing Helen and Brian closer to the city, to the more established suburb of Manorfield, where I've got a fantastic family home to show them.
West end of Aberdeen, much closer to work.
Yep.
Still a very good family area, good amenities, these type of 60s houses.
Yeah. It's better than the last house by a stretch.
Thank goodness for that.
This 1960s semi-detached house has 4 bedrooms, a good-sized living room and a huge open-plan kitchen at the back.
It is more expensive than the last house, but still within their ideal budget of 350 grand. And there's no denying this property would give them the practical family space and the curb appeal they've asked for.
Now, the owners of this house lived here for 10 years and they've had 3 babies in the house. So it is absolutely road tested for small children.
Oh, this is lovely.
This is a nice room, isn't it?
This is the extension. Everything that we're stood in here, they've put on.
This is
lovely.
This is perfect.
I like the layout. It's a kind of a slightly smaller version of where we've just come from, but it offers the same in terms of family living.
Yeah.
With access to the garden.
Yeah, that's
does.
lovely, isn't it? No, fabulous.
Fabulous. Cool. I haven't had one of those in a while.
It's really good. It's really nice. Good layout.
So it's exactly what you want in a kitchen diner
Yeah.
area, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looks like you're bang on the money with this one, Phil. Helen has not stopped smiling.
And Brian seems pretty taken with it too.
Oh, perfect.
It's another good size.
It's a Frankie room.
It is. It's already a Frankie room with people.
That's lovely. Oh,
What we got?
big sort of office cupboard
Okay.
kind of thing. So you could.
They're both keeping pretty open-minded about this place and the potential it has.
And this is where the little person lives, obviously. I mean, how does the house sit with you?
I like the layout downstairs, obviously, with my fabulous.
Yeah.
So it's working for me.
And Brian?
It was definitely a big step up from the first house. I would know if he hated it.
Yeah.
He definitely likes it. Whether he loves it or not, I don't know.
We better find out what Brian thinks. Don't we? Well, if you had to mark it out of 10, what would you give it?
I would give it 8, I think.
6.5 to 7,
Okay.
which isn't a bad score for me.
He'll never give anything 10.
Nothing ever gets 10. Ever.
They're asking for offers over 348 grand, and it's been valued at 350.
I'm not surprised at all. It could probably do with a bit more work for us. There's no adding any value to it.
What sort of work?
Well,
Decoration or real work?
a bit of both wouldn't do any harm, would it?
If we've got a reasonable tick in this box, let's go and explore something where there's more work and more opportunity.
Okay.
I think so, just to see how that compares.
Yep.
We've got more to see tomorrow. Come on. We'll keep on.
Helen really fell for this property and its practical family layout.
But it seems Brian won't be happy without a project.
These two want quite different things. I just hope I can find a middle ground.
Over in my camp, I have a family to reunite and a fabulous first house to improve upon.
Scott and Kirsten are after a semi-rural family home on the outskirts of Aberdeen. And Old Meldrum is a charming little village that would suit them perfectly.
I found a house that gives them the charm they love. And if they like the last property for its views, then they'll go mad for this place. I think it's about time you met my dream buyers, Phil.
Is this semi-rural enough for you, do you think?
Yeah, it's a fantastic location.
Yeah, it's
Beautiful
lovely.
scenery.
And very quaint as well.
As I promised you, there will always be compromises.
Yeah.
And this compromise is not on the look, not on the location, and not on the scenery. You know, those three things are absolutely 10 out of 10.
Tick box,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
space, probably.
Oh, well.
Let's get on.
Great.
She's got this one sussed, Kirstie.
This 1950s cottage is on the market at offers over £199,000. It's top of their budget, but I'm confident we could do a deal.
It's smaller than the first house, and they've said space is their priority.
But there is room for improvement, and I hope my star pupils can see the potential.
Come and see what you think.
Wow.
Little kitchen diner.
Yeah. Lovely view again. From the outside, you know, it's really beautiful and quaint, and I was a bit worried that when we came in it would be quite oppressive.
claustrophobically
But
small,
no,
yeah.
I have to say it's actually better than I thought it was going to be.
It's on the market at 199, being valued at 200. There is opportunities longer term, but obviously there's a budget implication, and this is top end of budget now.
We fully anticipated coming into something that would need work done, but we knew we weren't going to be able to do it straight away.
Yeah.
So it had to be livable with, which this is
Which
totally
totally is.
livable with. And it's a longer term thing if we're going to do work.
Good stuff.
You were right. These two are such a pleasure.
What did I tell you? Like the first property, this has just 3 bedrooms. But there is a huge loft ripe for development, which will give Scott the renovation project he craves.
And it'll comfortably provide the 4th bedroom they asked for.
Space is definitely, obviously, we're compromising on. But location is kind of winning out on me.
You
just
said
now.
it was all about space,
I know,
this search. And
I know.
Luckily, I didn't take your word for it. Luckily, I didn't believe you.
I know. I bet if he's gone up in that loft with Phil, he's already planning out the space and what he's going to do.
Do a lot with this.
Well, you were the one that wanted to put your stamp on somewhere.
Yeah.
I reckon up here you get 2 bedrooms and still have a loft.
Easily, yeah.
It's huge.
It is, definitely.
And something for the future.
Yeah. It wouldn't be too difficult to do because the roof structure's the right shape.
Yeah.
The 2 properties are so much better than I ever anticipated that you would show us.
Can
I'm
you
so
come and be with
pleased.
us every week?
I'm so pleased.
We'll just clone
Everybody
you
has worked so hard.
and dress you up differently every
We
week.
do it every time. Oh, this is a nice big room as well.
Yeah.
This is
No,
totally
it's
livable with.
walk-in again, isn't it?
It's totally livable with, and we can do something here as well. But I think this is probably more us
Yeah.
in terms of what we're doing and what we can add to it further down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Didn't I tell you you'd be pea green with envy?
Yes, I am. I mean, to be fair, you've got them good houses.
You would
You've
be.
got this so taped. They're making it look easy.
I know, and they're so sweet, and they're so positive, and their
They
attitude
just
is...
want to get the family together and sorted and move on.
I know.
How are you getting on?
Good.
Yeah.
Actually,
We
yeah.
love the place. Very enthusiastic about it.
I can tell.
I think we may want to buy it.
Did we say that at the last?
Oh, dear me.
You should keep her on edge for a little bit longer, please.
I love you two. I really do. Okie dokie.
I'm so taking that as 2 out of 2. But can I make it a hat trick?
I think you should quit while you're ahead.
Where's the fun in that, Phil? Where's the fun in that?
This week we're in Aberdeen, where I'm finding a family home for new parents Brian and Helen, who have moved to the city for work.
And I'm with Kirsten and Scott, who need a home to bring their family back together after Scott's new job in Aberdeen has separated them during the week. And these guys are the best house hunters ever. I've shown them 2 properties so far and they like them both.
Good for you. If only I was getting on as well with Brian and Helen's search. The 2 properties I've shown them gave Helen the practical family space she wants, but for Brian, they lacked character and the potential to do work. I'm hoping my next property, which certainly has curb appeal, gets me back in the game.
Well, we couldn't come house searching in the Granite City, could we, without having a look at a very traditional granite house.
That's lovely.
That's much nicer.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Built in the 1860s, stuff full of character and interest, but it is going to throw up lots of different choices.
Much better?
Much better.
Let's go inside.
Excellent.
Was that an excellent from Brian? Good start, Phil. In an ideal world, when relocating, rent first in order to familiarise yourself with different areas. It's paying off for these 2. This house is close to where they've been renting for the past year, so they already know how well the area caters for family life.
On the market at offers over $375,000, this detached granite cottage is 25 grand more than they'd ideally want to spend. But it's the biggest property I'm showing them, with 4 bedrooms, a formal dining room and loads of living space.
And then the family living room in here, which is also bigger than any living room we saw yesterday.
This is what I look for in a house. This is great. It's lovely.
I think you may have caught his attention with this one, Phil.
In terms of the price, the owners are looking for offers over $375,000.
Well, it's slightly over, but it's not too far over that.
Yeah.
Would worry about it. It's a lot more house.
Yeah.
25 grand more house.
Yeah, you can see where your money's going.
No,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Definitely.
For the perfect home, Brian and Helen said they could add $50,000 to their 350 grand budget. And so far, bargain mad Brian isn't put off by the price.
The issue with the property at the moment, it doesn't have parking. The owner here has agreed in principle to buy access out onto the road, meaning you could build a garage here.
Build a garage here.
Perfect.
So it's going to cost you a little bit more, but it's going to add some value to it as well.
You get to build what you want.
You do.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Building a garage would give Brian the project he wants without taking up too much of his time, which will be music to Helen's ears.
Oh my God! This is amazing! The fireplace in your bathroom. In your ensuite bathroom.
Your ensuite. That's an ensuite, isn't it?
Look at the radiator.
This beautiful cottage gives them the curb appeal they want, but it isn't quite the open-plan family space they were after.
Great to see so much excitement from both of them this morning. However, I also hope that Helen hasn't forgotten about the places that we saw yesterday and the ease of bringing up small children in what is a modern family layout. I don't know.
Seems to have Brian's vote.
You're picturing kids buzzing up and down there?
Yes, they could be running up and down and around some corners in here. We could lose them everywhere.
All around the corridors.
Should be excellent.
Although, of course, the playroom would be quite some distance from the kitchen here.
It's not what we discussed or were really looking for, but it's got something about it. It's got that indefinable character. It's lovely.
How about Helen? She was quite taken with the layout of some of the houses yesterday.
It's a compromise that we need to have a chat about and see if she's willing to make. But it's a lovely, lovely house. It's over budget. It's not what we asked for.
It's funny the way things
it doesn't really matter.
You're admiring the bath. How have you been getting on?
It's quite impressive. Just trying to imagine how we would actually live in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if the dining room will be wasted space. And the kitchen's a decent size. Can't get the big fridge freezer in, and it's not the open plan.
No.
But the house is gorgeous.
You've said it all. It delivers 10 out of 10 in a couple of aspects.
Yeah,
and it
completely.
slightly makes you forget about some of the other aspects, but they are important aspects.
If the one that we needed 10 out of 10 was the open plan living and the practicalities, then yesterday's houses would win. And right now, this is by far the one that grabs you.
There's no denying this isn't what they asked for, but they've both fallen for its style and charm.
Well done, Phil. Looks like you're back on track. Kirstie and Scott fell for the cottage just outside Old Meldrum. But I've got one more house to show them that's right in the heart of the village itself. And I've got a feeling it might give them some tough decisions.
This is Old Meldrum.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you lived here opposite the playing fields, children would walk to school, and you'd be in the centre of a lovely community. It would be a very different kind of life and not involve the car very much.
The conversation I have just had with Scott.
So here we are.
Okay. Good. Oh, you're mean.
I'm not mean.
So cruel.
I'm not mean.
This 1940s 4-bed detached villa is on the market and offers over 210 grand.
But I have it on good authority that their budget of £200,000 would be considered.
You know what? I think we can do something with this one. Yeah.
I can do lots of things.
Great.
Sounds positive, and he's not even inside yet.
Scott and Kirstie want somewhere they can do work to, and they'd have a field day modernising this place.
Okay.
Is this better than what you thought you'd be buying?
Yes, from a location point of view.
It's not doing it for me as much as the other two properties did, but again, it's a very different animal, isn't it?
Right.
Oh dear, Scott isn't sounding quite as positive now, but Kirstie loves the location. I hope you've got something up your sleeve to convince him.
And I do. To give them the space they need, the house needs an extension.
Poke your chin out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
So it'll be a great project for Scott.
It's a decent size, isn't
Yeah.
it?
No, it's
It
okay.
is,
Bit of
definitely.
a jungle, but it's okay.
Bit of a jungle, and you can
Yeah.
build an extension in there and not impact too much on the
It
garden.
needs a bit of work,
Yeah.
but no, it's good size.
But I am just not sure he likes the house enough.
Really struggling to get my head around this whole thing.
What's pulling me here is the fact, I don't know if you're going to end up working away as
that's
well.
right,
If you're going to end up being away overnights and stuff, how, I would feel maybe being out there on my own with the kids. All right.
I'm not totally put off.
No,
by
I
it.
know. I think we just need to think
I'm,
about it,
Yeah.
consider it.
Kirstie loves being at the centre of the village, but with Scott pining after the rural cottage, it's not what he wanted to hear.
You hate me today, don't you, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's good. I'm glad we got out of the way.
It's just totally not working for me at all, this house.
This house is not the build that you would really like, is it?
No, it's,
No.
it's the shape and
It's
the
the
way it
shape and-
flows. It doesn't
Yeah.
really...
No, it doesn't.
It's not in here.
But it will never be where your heart lies.
No, that's right. If Kirsten wants to buy this house, we'll buy it. And I will deal with that and move on from where I am at the moment.
But Kirstie loves you and wants you to have a house that you love, particularly when you're working so hard to provide for your family. It's nice. Listen, I like it when people don't buy houses because they love each other too much.
Oh dear, Kirstie, it's all getting very confusing. Care to explain?
So this is the house for Kirstie, not the house for Scott. But Scott loves Kirstie, so if Kirstie wants this house, he'll say yes. But Kirstie loves Scott, so she's not sure whether she's going to make him buy this house. They are utterly sweet and totally devoted and both obsessed with finding the right house for their family. But I can't call it.
It's not the fairy tale ending just yet.
Oh, I know, I'm sorry. Scott hates me. He's come out and said that. Yeah. He doesn't know whether he hates me or the house more. Yeah. What do you want to do?
We have to go back.
Go back and look at the other one.
We have to definitely
What,
do
the
that.
second house yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah. See if that makes anything any clearer.
I had thought I had this all wrapped up, but after this property, my perfect house hunters are torn, and I'm just not sure which way they'll go.
I've got one last attempt at finding Brian and Helen a family home with character, space, potential to do work, and all for a bargain. And I'm really hoping my final house will be the one that gives them everything.
Ooh, big claims there, Phil. Hope you can back them up.
I'm taking Brian and Helen to the prestigious residential area of Kingsgate to see this 1930s semi-detached granite house.
It's only a few minutes' walk from Brian's office, so he could come home to the family for lunch.
And on the market at offers over 295,000, this property is 55 grand under budget. Potentially a big bargain for Brian.
It stacks up so far, but for the rest they'll have to use their imagination.
It has 2 good-sized living rooms and 3 bedrooms, but it needs modernising, and a simple 2-storey extension at the back would give them fantastic open-plan living space and a 4th bedroom. It just so happens a neighbouring property has had some of that work done, and that's where we're starting.
Now, I've got a few surprises in here.
Okay.
Okay. Couple up my sleeve.
Excellent.
Good. Well, here's the first surprise.
Hello.
Kirstie, this is Helen and Brian.
I'm refusing to get involved in this because Phil is playing with your head.
Okay.
The second surprise.
This house is not for sale.
The house isn't for sale?
No. There is a house 3 doors down which is for sale.
Okay.
If this house were for sale, it would be for sale at £380,000. It has recently been renovated, and this is the result. Phil wanted you to have this in your mind.
I wanted you to see this kitchen extension before we go down the road.
This is the show home look.
The house that's available down the road is on the market at 295.
Okay.
So there is room within your budget to create da-da. What I would say is to get the 4 bedrooms that you need, this extension.
Double story.
You're ahead of me. Anyone coming with me to see a house that's actually for sale?
Kirstie, you're just jealous you didn't think of it. I really hope Brian and Helen are still with me, though, because this house could become their dream family home.
Kitchen.
Somewhat different in here.
Right.
But you know what it could look like?
Yeah, it is. A bit different in here, isn't it?
Obviously, this is not work you can physically do yourselves.
No.
It is a much bigger, more in-depth project. But if you want to add value, then here's your opportunity.
Yeah.
Could you live with this kitchen for a while?
It's not the end of the world. You could clean it and live in it for a while until you start it.
I think that getting the work done and then moving in is probably a good idea.
Yeah. Even if it's not 100% finished, even if all the corners aren't tidied up, you'd have the big works done, you'd have a nice cooker in, some units in.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have a look around.
Yeah,
We've only done one room.
After you.
Thank you.
The work needed here is definitely what Brian wanted, but Helen didn't want the stress of a major project. I wonder what she'll make of it.
We could do ensuite in this half of the extension, couldn't we? With that being the other kiddie room.
And make this the double dormer so it goes through the whole length.
This is a good size anyway, and if you did all of that, it could be quite good.
It would be really good.
Yeah.
It sounds like she's starting to come round to the idea. This property must be really tempting her.
I'm not as brave as they are. They are trying to do so much in such a short space of time. My head spins.
But their job is to decommission nuclear power stations. It's not like they don't...
Mine's just finding a house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. I mean, I reckon that's how they are. They're project managers. They need a lot going on and, you know... Rumour has it they're planning a wedding as well.
Yeah.
This would be a cracky house when finished.
Yes.
Yep. Anyway, less chatter. More looking after
Let's check
Phil.
on them.
Yes. Here they are.
You've got to change all the windows.
So where are your heads at?
Well, my heads are between here and the other property we've seen today.
Yeah.
And
working out how much we would need to spend on each, and then how much value we would add to each.
Don't fry your head now. You don't need to make any decisions. They're big ones. You need to make them in the cold light of day.
yeah, I think we need to look at some sums.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Good place to be at the end of the day.
Exactly. I'm happy.
Two in the running.
2 in the running.
Good.
So that's 2 couples both torn between 2 family homes.
And 2 property finders with no idea which way it's going to go. A new day in Aberdeenshire, and Kirsten and Scott have a big decision ahead of them. They need a new home to reunite the family. But my dream buyers have fallen for different properties.
Scott loves the rural cottage 3 miles outside Old Meldrum, but Kirsten preferred the villa in the centre with the amenities of the town on her doorstep.
But they've decided to come back to the cottage Scott loves to see if the same house can feel like home for both of them.
It's this fire I'm heading for, not into anything else. Blow the house, it's the fire.
Yes.
We dashed in because it's very cold and windy, which even more makes me think what happens in the winter. Have you got a 4x4?
We've got a Volvo.
OK, right. We won't talk about what happens up here in the winter because Scott doesn't want me to talk about that. And I'm not to be negative about this house in any way. I'm just backing off at this point. Call me back off, Kirstie. Go and have a look around.
Okay.
Scott and Kirsten want a home where the family can be together again. But on this second viewing, it's important that they think with their heads and not their hearts.
How are you feeling about here then?
I think this has definitely got the best of everything because we can move straight into it. There's a lot of potential for what we can do with it. You know, you look at this space, what we can do with this up here.
My head did think, oh, Meldrum, being in town, being able to walk to school, having the park across the road was all perfect, but
I just didn't like the house.
I know, and I'm okay with that.
It's a great space.
There's a lot, fantastic. Okay, great.
Okay.
They have this incredible sense that as long as they're together, that's all that matters.
This is really pretty.
We can get chickens.
And I have to say, I think Scott and Kirsten are pretty inspiring.
Some people are just meant to be together, Kirstie.
And some people are just stuck with each other.
OK, you're both grinning like Cheshire cats. So the house is what you want?
Yes. Definitely.
It's
Definitely.
100%.
I can see myself and the kids being here. I did love the location of the last place, but no, I'm feeling the love here.
I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled.
You've done a fantastic job.
I want is for you two to be happy and in the right house. We should find somewhere warm, dry, and with a licence.
Yes, please, I feel the need.
After you.
Thank you.
After months of being separated, Kirsten and Scott have found somewhere which could bring their family back together. But this property is on the market at offers over £199,000, close to their maximum budget of £200. So it's time to talk numbers.
What's the figure that you're thinking you'd like to put in an offer at?
I was thinking of pitching it at 195 as a starter for 10 and seeing where we go from there.
I think 195 is strong.
Okay.
I wouldn't be ashamed of an offer of 195.
Yeah.
At this point, I would usually call the agent, but under the Scottish system, buyers often make their offers via their solicitors.
We'd like to put in an offer on the house, please. We're going to go in at 195.
And that leaves it up to Scott.
Yeah, because we are in a very strong position, I think, so... OK, right, thanks, Crawford. Bye-bye.
So it feels a bit weird. I'm kind of on the other side.
With their offer on the table, Scott and Kirsten can do nothing now but wait.
And the next day, they have some news for Kirstie.
Hello, Kirstie.
Scott, is that you?
It is. No, I was just phoning to let you know that we have the house.
No.
And we got it for 197.
Many congratulations. I can't tell you how pleased I am.
Well done, Kirstie. That's a terrific result for Scott and Kirsten.
Thank you, Kirstie. Bye-bye.
Bye then.
But over with Brian and Helen, there's been some devastating news that's made them rethink their move to Aberdeen.
Helen had a miscarriage, unfortunately, while we were looking for a house up in Aberdeen. It was very difficult. It was even more difficult because there was nobody there.
Helen and Brian have now moved to Largs on the west coast of Scotland for a fresh start and to be closer to family.
We already spent a lot of time with Brian's mum, who's been up and stayed because she's a lot closer now. We can get a babysitter for a night now,
Possibly.
which we never had the option of in Aberdeen, you know. So, I mean, it's nice because we've always done stuff as a family, and Frankie's come out with us for dinner and things like that. But now we can actually have a little bit of a life.
It's not the move they planned, but with new jobs secured in nearby Glasgow, Brian and Helen are settled and fast making this place their new home.
And as for Scott and Kirsten, they're excited to be in their new home and finally back together as a family.
We've come to a house that we've fallen in love with so much.
Fantastic!
And it's so beautiful here, it's so peaceful. Just really, really happy to be here.
At last.
Yeah, and all be back together again, I think, which has been really the important thing.
It's been a difficult time for both these families, but Kirsten and Scott are now delighted to be living together again, and Helen and Brian, they've decided to settle near loved ones in Largs, and we wish them all the very best.